Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, all Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I pray every day, I continue to pray each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. And with that said, let me turn down the fan, I forgot. Make sure that it's not making too much noise into the fan or into the microphone here. So, this is one of those sort of unscheduled little diddlies, but it seems to come with, for me, it's an angel message or guardian or however you would like to perceive it. But it has to do a lot with meditation. This subject is kind of be jumping around a little bit, but it's going to be on meditation and some of the things that we can do and different ideas and thought patterns and stuff. And hi, Ann. And maybe I can help some of those people who may be fledgling, faltering, or thinking that they're not making any progress or anything like that. I meditated for years and it didn't seem like it was doing me any good. And I realized, and you've heard me discuss this before, but I will repeat it because it bears repeating, in that I was expecting something else. I was expecting nirvana every time that I sat down and was quiet for a few minutes. And the other night I was talking about, it was ended up being a 2 hour long video about, we've got some big decisions coming, and there are a lot of us that are going to have to, make some choices and do some thinking. And in that, it's going to be confusing because it's going to shake our very foundation of our faith, the faith in ourselves, the faith in whether or not the choice we make is right or wrong. I mean, it's going to be a really big deal. So with staying away from that topic for the moment, at least, it's something that we should consider as far as meditation is concerned. Now, with meditation, let's just kind of back the bus up just a little bit and say, meditation, people think that, no, I did an online meditation and I got a positive feedback on it, and I would like to do another one. But until they figure out what they're going to do with my phone lines and everything up at the top of the hill. Hey, Maverick, blessings to both of you and anybody. And I know it says there's other folks watching. It's okay. You can linger in the background. We love you. But this idea, though, that you got to have the room dark and you got to have a candle lit and you've got to have this, you don't got to do that. But if you're trying to learn and you want to create a baseline. Hello, Barry. Barry, is that right? Barry Chad, present. Ah ha ha ha. See, I caught you sneaking in the background. Ha ha. I'm kidding. You know I am. We love you. Thank you. And greetings and blessings to you, Barry. The idea, though, that I say many of us who have been meditating for a while, and I have to bring up the monks, okay? Not necessarily Catholic monks, but monks. And now most of my experience, though, has been primarily 80% with Catholic monks at monasteries and so forth, and the idea of that. And I realized years ago that those monks who dedicate their lives to meditation and prayer mostly get up in the morning And when they step foot onto Mother Earth or onto the ground or wherever they're, the monastery floor or whatever, that their entire day is meditation. Their entire day is a prayer. So that it's not that you stop to meditate. You be you go beyond that and understand that the meditation can be constant. You can be working in the garden, you can be driving your vehicle, you can be doing something else. But when you achieve a certain reality level, it's hard for me to explain. But when you reach a certain reality level, you'll go, "Oh, I'm still kind of meditating." But for those folks who are having trouble and they don't feel like they're really making a dent, candle meditations really work, okay? For just a bunch of reasons. But being able to use the candle and the light and use the thought process of the light and you becoming part of the universe and how it represents, and the fact that the light can actually come through your eyelids and you can feel the light. There's all these wonderful things. And it does help you to transcend the normal realm of your reality, because now you're asking yourself to let everything else go and just allow this candle and the light and everything. And that is your experience for that particular moment. Now, it's really important because any meditation, any prayer is just a moment in time. It's a small moment. Even an hour's long meditation, considering the grand scheme of things, is still, hi, Chloe, is still just a drop in the bucket. It's still a tiny little dot in the time. But as I keep getting remembered, I said this the other night, and it keeps coming up in like this vision thing, like right now, they were like, talk about the pebble. If you drop a pebble into any water, you can't take that pebble back. You can't take the ripple back. You have to be able to travel back in time. So when you send out a message to the universe, when you send out your intent, you have dropped a pebble into the ocean of life, into the universe. And if your intent is pure and even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes of quote meditation, that ripple you can't take, it may be short, but you still drop that pebble. You still created a ripple. Now, you could call it the butterfly effect or something like that. And the butterfly effect, well, that works too. But in this particular instance, the butterfly effect doesn't seem as appropriate as a pebble and watching the ripples from a pond or a bucket of water, whatever you drop the pebble into, to create the ripples. So it's very important for us to understand it doesn't matter how big the pebble is. It could be a big rock and it might be a bigger wave. Okay, we could say that would be a mass meditation. We're going to throw a rock into the pool. But for every good intention, we drop a seed, we drop that pebble into the universe. So now, this is what I mean by this. Years ago, and I've talked about this, but it's probably been years ago, people wanted a way to be able to learn how to do like an ongoing meditation. So my suggestion was this, and it still is, and I'm going to bring it back up. And I almost brought it up the other night, and I didn't. I forgot. I skipped over it. Now this video is more in tune to it. But at the top of every hour, now being that I was in radio for many years, the top of the hour, you had to do the commercials, you had to do the call sign and the this and that, and this is WMTM radio, FM 100 in Moultrie, Georgia, that you had to do the call. and also at the bottom of the hour, but that wasn't near as necessary. But it was kind of thrown in. You're listening to WMTM and Moultrie and blah, 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 and it would segue into something else. But at the top of the hour, it's mandated by FCC regulations that you identify the station. You can get fined for it if you don't do it. So, but so this is what I'm thinking. So at the top of the hour, regardless of the hour, regardless of where you live, so you could say, well, right now it's 11:47 Eastern Daylight Time. Well, I don't set my clocks forward. It's 10 minutes to 11 here. But anyway, and in a couple of months, the time will get switched back and my clock will be correct again. Anyway. But the idea, though, at the top of each hour, regardless of where you are, you say you just take 2 minutes. You can still be working, and you can go, oh, it's top of the hour. I'm going to do my little prayer, and so come up with what your intent is. And so I say the prayer is that that I wish for awareness in the universe and people to be safe, or keep it simple, right? But say you pick, this is your prayer for the day. And the prayer is going to be that for those who are afflicted will find comfort, you know, with the 19, or those afflicted with cancer, or, you can pick up an affliction. We could say um, that all people who are in a discomfort, mentally, physically, or even spiritually, will be comforted. That's a bigger, broader picture. But if like, I've got friends of mine who are dying literally from one thing or another, and it's been a little hard to comprehend. Some of these folks are much younger than I am, and it's like, I'm glad I'm still here, knock on wood, for tomorrow, and made arrangements for some folks to come by and help me do some things around here that need to be done, and I'll be able to help them survive because they're out of work and they need it. So I can contribute back into my local community by helping these friends of mine who are out of work because of this 19 stuff. And there are things that I need to be doing or need done around here, and it's been too hot for me to take care of, and I'm getting old, and I realize that there's just too much for me to handle at my age. And so, but a little bit of help. And so in understanding this, it's like, well, I'm not giving up anything. I'm understanding I've reached a certain point where I'm beyond the clutter. I'm beyond some of the things that I saved and salvaged, and I'm going to use it for this or that. A lot of it has become rotten or no good. And hey, Scratch, how are you? Blessings to you. Did I miss anybody, Maverick? And blessings, everybody. Chloe, I think I said hi. And if I didn't, hi. But so in the clutter of our lives, there's just some things that we keep going back over, or we revisit or something. And after a certain point, we have to look and go, wait a minute, this just isn't necessary. Or, I'm spending too much time worrying about this. And my point about that is that if you're worrying, and you got to be aware, you've got to say, listen, when this subject comes back up, I'm going to go, wait a minute, here I go telling that same story again. Or I'm relating this emotion, or I've got this fear about this. And every time I meet somebody, or every time this subject comes up, and I find myself literally repeating myself, and I've got this little story down, and there's even emotions tied with it. A lot of people do this. I was very guilty. And I have to realize that it's okay. And where it used to be a 10-minute story is now condensed to 30 seconds. So before it was all about the story and this, and then this happened. And now I look at things. Sometimes it's important to tell the whole story, but other times it's just, I've repeated myself on this so many times, I break it down to just a couple of lines and go, there's more to it. I always say there's more to it than that, but that's the short version. And most of the time, people kind of pick up on that and go, yeah, I get it. So all of the words and all the necessary, but the thing is that all the energy that it takes to compile the story of whatever it is, the problem, the issue, the kids, the wife, husband, mate, somebody, the world, but we keep relating it over and over and over and over again, and it becomes part of our story. But the thing is, though, we make it a part of our story. And in making it a part of our story, then we take on the burden. So if you've taken on this burden of all this emotional stuff, how are you going to stay connected to your higher self? Because now you're carrying all this emotional baggage, and meditating on any level is going to be quite difficult because you've attached your spirit in a lot of ways to all of these. Call it the matrix if you want. That's not, I hate using that term. I don't use it often. But, you allow the chaos in, and you allow your energy to be siphoned off. And so, but then you meet somebody else, or you got to tell that story over again. And I was finding out that every time I told the story, I would become even more emotional than I was the first time, because it still ticks me off after all this time. So, but I have to be able to put enough emotion into it. But in here, I know that I'm not putting forth the emotional energy that I have in many things in the past. So you say, well, Hawkeye, what difference does that make? They can't steal my energy. I see it, I'm aware of it, and I go, you guys are trying to do it again. Here you go again. So why am I always saying I pray that each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe, because it's the wisdom. You have to have the wisdom within yourself to go, wait a minute, I'm repeating this story. It For me, it was, oh, how the priest did me, and oh, woe is me. And that went on for years. And I realized that, wait a minute, well, yeah, they did these things to me, but all these priests in the Catholic Church and there was parts of my brain that would hurt when I got into that mode. And it was all wasted energy. It was all wasted emotion. It was all wasted time when I could have been using that pissed offedness for a positive pebble to be dropped into the ocean of the universe, into the collective consciousness. So instead, I fed my own anger. I fed, and so everybody does it. Everybody, I don't care. You can say, well, I don't do it. Well, if if you can say, well, I don't do that kind of stuff, yes, you do. Yes, you do. I can't be honest with yourself, because everybody does it to some degree or not. Now, to many of you, it could be minimal. And cheers, thumbs up for you folk. And I mean that honestly. But there are a lot of people who are unaware of the fact that they do it. And, there's been a couple of times in the last few months where someone has asked me something, and I'm going to listen. Do you realize in the time that we've been talking on the phone, you have repeated this particular thing 4 times in the last 20 minutes in our conversation? So you've already told it to me once, but you found out a way to reconstruct the same thing and tell it to me. And I'm guilty of this myself, okay? But we have to realize, we have to go, oh crap, I'm doing it again. Because once is really enough, because it becomes an unconscious obsession with us, whatever that subject is bothering us. There are some people who are really worried about this thing about ascension. And my views on that. We're going to ascend after we make the transition. We have to make the transition first. And there is a lot of lower fourth stuff coming through right now. And I've been hesitant to discuss fourth dimension, But with all of the, I was watching other folks' videos and I see orbs going by. And y'all have watched videos of mine when orbs just, floated right by the screen. So it's like, okay, so we know that there are these other entities out there. So we're aware of it. Are we scared of it? We've all kind of come to grips with that. That's a reality that a couple of years ago, many of it, maybe only months ago for some people, but we realized that, wait a minute, I quit talking about aliens. I see them all the time. So, but I will report that saw them again, more so as a, um, um, I saw it on this date or whatever, I saw the alien again, it's just sort of a discussion. Um, but when we wish to understand about meditation, so I want to go back to the top of the hour thing. Now, at the top of any hour, you can look at the clock and go, that's, it'll be 12 o'clock Eastern Daylight here in a minute or so. We can all take 2 minutes to just close our eyes or stop all whatever other thoughts we're having and go, I'm going to spend the next 2 minutes and just repeat this little mantra. I'm wishing for harmony and strength, for people to find their true spirit guide. Okay, that's my prayer for now. I'm praying for people to learn to be strong with their spirit guides, that their connection to the spirit guide will be strong. My intention in my meditation at the moment, even though my eyes are open and there's no candle lit, I'm going to say this for the next minute or so, and that's my meditation. So at the top of every hour, and here's the interesting thing, during that hour, you'll go up, in 15 minutes, I'm going to do my meditation. And so you'll find out that you're actually meditating on it, even though you're working and you're doing, hey, Miss Delaney, even though you're still doing your job or driving or whatever, because you have set this at the top of every hour, I'm going to say this little prayer. And it, like I said, each day can be different, but make it very simple. Make it something you can just do, 1 or 2 sentences. And so you say, well, what does that add? It teaches you that if I just put this little thought in my head that I'm going to think positive about this all day, but at the top of every hour, lunch break, this break, whatever, I can go be walking to the lunchroom and doing my little meditation. See? So excuse me, I don't have any coffee made. I'm decided to do this video and I was on Facebook trying to get that stuff squared out and it really doesn't want to work for me. But anyway, so here's Bob, thank you. We seem to have a good connection here, but the Facebook connection sucks. It tries to use both of my cameras anyway. So, but if you do the 2-minute exercise and start doing that, you can talk to your friends and say, listen, our collective meditation for tomorrow is going to be, here's the subject. And it's a 1-line little thing. So it's our mantra, if you will, for the day. So our meditation, you get up in the morning and you look at your whatever it is and you go, okay, our meditation for the day. And as you're stumbling to the bathroom to do whatever you do, first things first, I gotta pee, right? So on the way to pee and doing my thing, I don't even have to have my eyes open. I can say my mantra for the day is, and I just repeat it. Don't have to say it out loud. So I set my intention early on. And try not to pee on myself. A little pee humor there, but PU humor anyway. Yeah, that one stunk. But anyway, so do we have to have mass meditations? Well, my suggestion is this, that we say for the next few days, I'm just putting this out there, not saying this is it, but you can use this suggestion that for the next few days, we're going to use this one topic. And and if you're a minute or two late at the top of the hour, it's not about it's not about the punctuality of it. It's about your intent and dropping the pebble into the water. So it's like in the morning when you get up and you establish your intent, it's like you're getting a bag of pebbles or marbles or something, right? And through the day, you're going to drop a marble into the water. I know I'm trying to give you a picture here, right? So through the day, you're going to try to, whoops, hang on there. I want to sit back. So through the day, if it's 10 minutes after and you were busy or something, it's, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do it at the top of the hour. That's not the idea for the exercise. The idea for the exercise is that there is a little tiny piece of your brain that got this little prayer in it, that all you got to do is go, oh, there's my prayer. You don't even really have to say it again, but it helps. So a mass meditation doesn't mean we all have to be collectively together. We can say at the top of each hour for the next couple of days, regardless of where you are on the planet or what time it is, it will always be the top of the hour everywhere. So one person, three people, there's some folks in the UK, there's folks in Australia, there's folks in BC. Okay, but at the top of every hour, regardless of where we are, if we just go, oh, here's the prayer for the day, and we send it up like dropping a marble in a pond or a lake or the ocean, and we go on about our business. But as you learn and practice this, you realize that you've been meditating the entire day on that particular thing. And there are times when you're just because you're aware of it and that you're going to do it at the top of every hour, as close, like I said, if you look at the clock and you go, oh crap, it's 20 after. You don't have to say, oh crap. You can just go, oh, it's 20 after, I'll do it now. So throw in the old crap or I missed it or something like that. This isn't about any kind of negative energy. It's the fact that you're reminding your original prayer from the moment you started your day, and your intention is this prayer is I'm going to walk on these steps, on these stepping stones today. And these stones are all about, people connecting with their spirit guide or understand whatever the subject is. So each of us is meditating. Each of us are dropping pebbles or marbles into the pond. So as a collective, regardless of where we are, there's going to be all these little pings going into the universe with good intent. So, and in that, it's a mass meditation, okay? Whether we are actually collective or not. But if we all, as members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, we'll all understand, well, all of us in the League, I'm going to start this thing at the top of the hour thing. It's really simple. I'm going to spend 30 seconds. It doesn't take 2 minutes, but if you want to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and just calm yourself, that's going to help you stay calm through the day and allow the meditation to continue and better energy. And it's just good for you to just stop for a minute or two, take a couple of good deep breaths, breathe in through your nose, hold out through your mouth, and think of this thought, and then go right back to what you're doing. It's a minor interruption, but because you keep doing it successively over the course of your day, that is a really powerful prayer, because there's a tiny little chip somewhere in your brain that is transmitting this message, you see. And so if we all agree, and it's not like, well, I don't know, I don't feel like it today. Okay. But if you're there are many people who are serious about the collective meditations, and I'm going to do another one. But the idea, though, that we don't have to wait on anybody. We don't have to, well, is this person going to be here or not, or whatever. We all know at the top of whatever hour it is, one of us is going to be meditating. So then we can say, whoever's out there meditating, regardless of the hour, so it could be 8 o'clock in the morning for me, or 8 o'clock at night for me, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon for somebody else, 4 hours away, or, 4 hours, 6 hours in the UK, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't matter what the hour is, but we'll still be doing it as a collective. So I put this out there that people want a solution. Here's one. And all we have to do is talk amongst ourselves. So you folk in the chat can go, you know what? I got a topic for tomorrow. Anybody up for it? And you go, here's my topic. Remember, it's got to be one thing, on a particular subject. But trying to mix it up and making it complicated doesn't work as well. Now, we've got all the time in the world in that today's this one, tomorrow's that one, and the two may be closely related. It's okay. We're going to pray for this today, and then tomorrow, which piggybacks on this, and you wanted to really combine the two, now we're going to pray on this one today and this one tomorrow. Okie doke. And as things happen, or someone needs our prayers, then we can change it. And it doesn't have to be the whole day. It may be in the early morning up to lunchtime, something happens and you go, oh crap, I'm changing the prayer. That's okay too. So this isn't such a rigid thing, but it would be rigid for you as far as being a participant all the time without having to tune into anybody. And many of us are already tuned in. I mean, there's been times when I thought about somebody and they were going, I thought about you today. And I was like, so you're the reason I'm doing this video. And we've talked about this, and it's okay. That's like my job now, right? But this idea that we all need the same time. Okay, the top of every hour. Well, but what about the top of every hour? And that makes our continuous prayer. Now, we can share our comments. We can pick different topics. But as a collective, in the Catholic Church with monks, and not just the Catholics, okay? I mean, there are Buddhist monks and Hindu monks and so forth. And, they stay in prayer all the time. There are Muslim monks and there are folks like me that are just hermits who just stay in this particular state of, gosh, I hate to use the word, but this state of awareness. Because where I used to have to stop and be aware of things, I realize I just am aware of it. So it's like, wait a minute, no, when did I cross this line? And it's been a few years back. But there were certain things that I had to do. And that is that you must believe 100.1% or 0.001%. Doesn't matter. It must be more than 100% that this is going to work, that you have the power, that you are a part of this. You just have to say, I got it. I believe it 100%. I have the faith. Now I'm just going to do this. But because there are folks who have hesitation. Well, what if I'm not doing it right? Well, that'll hold you back. And there were things like that. I was 99.5% there. But that 0.5% to the 100 included a little bit of hesitation, a little bit, well, what if I'm not doing this right? A little bit of this and a little bit of that. And Spirit came to me out on the river one night, and they laid it out for me, and they said, you can't do this anymore. Do you believe? Yes or no? Well, I do, but there was always a but in there. But what I don't know if I'm doing. Nyeh, 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 nyeh. Do you believe? Well, yes. No, I hear in the back of your voice, Hawkeye. You got this little tiny bit of reservation. Well, no, I don't. And I got real defensive about it. And I was fixing to argue with the cosmos. And they lifted me up into the Milky Way and said, pay attention. And I went, ooh, I see your point. So, what if our words are a little bumbled? What's our intent? Well, my intent in my brain is to send love and honor to the universe. Okay, so regardless of how I say it, now I always try to speak in the positive versus, I can't, do this anymore, and I can't when I won't, and I don't, and stay away from them words. And I will find a positive way to be an influence in the universe versus, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do a lot of the times. But when you stay connected or the awareness of things, and sometimes stuff just comes to you. Folks come over, get a phone call, and so then the rest of my reality changes due to those factors. But the meditation that I do, regardless of what happens, the meditation is still there, my original prayer for the day. Now, like I say, sometimes that prayer's got to change. And there are some days that every hour the prayer is changing versus one prayer for the whole day. So I might meditate on something for 10, 15, 20 minutes and walk out in the yard, and that's it for that subject. And then later on in the day, something else will come in, and I'll take 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, sometimes longer, and meditate on that and this and that. Sometimes it's a subject for a YouTube video or comments or something. So I realized for myself, now I don't have a 9-to-5 job, I'm retired and all that. So, I've had to learn this new freedom, if you will, because nothing is taking up my time. I choose to do whatever I want with my time when I want to. It's my choice. So where other people don't have that luxury. So I understand that. And in the last 3 or 4 years, during this transition of having all the time to myself, if you will, I realized that there are a lot of retired people that I don't know if they ever get this. It took me a while to kind of get it. Well, you don't have to be somewhere. No one's depending upon you with their life or anything, okay, so which also kind of brings up, it also gives you a feeling of being left out. I mean, my friends who are in different, I talked with a friend of mine tonight on the phone, and he and I both worked in the same manufacturing facilities, and he was working in maintenance and I was working in engineering, and we worked on many problems and solved many issues and fixed stuff, and but when you don't have that, and I mean, it was a constant thing, you never knew when a machine was going to break down, and we had to go out there and do a rush fix. So, and you were needed because of your skills. So there was always this necessity to be ready for anything that happens, and to have your mechanics belt, and to be ready to do this or call up a drawing and do what. So, but with that, when you don't have someone calling upon you, um, you know, 2 eggs over easy if you were a short order cook, which I was a short order cook for a while in the carnival and all. And so, but the idea though that, you're not needed any longer, you're not necessary. So when I got my butt kicked, I started doing these YouTube videos. But, I'm telling Spirit, what have I got to offer? And I realized that just by having the conversation and having a place for you folk to come and hang out is very, very important. It has nothing to do about me, because I'm still going to be in my own thought. I'm still going to be in my own meditation. I'm still going to be down here in the swamp with the dog. You know what I mean? So my situation doesn't change in that respect. But in the grand scheme of things, if I didn't soar above like Eagle does, they're telling me to pick 2 cards, by the way. So y'all hang out. I'm going to grab of the animal cards here in a minute and pick a couple of cards and see what they have to say. But in Eagle the other night, and I've also pulled Hawk card, and both of those are to soar up above everything and take a look at the big picture. And when you look at the big picture, you have a better understanding. Oh, well, and the thing is, you'll realize there's a lot of stuff that you can see that you can't change worth a dang. You can't influence it no matter what, except to say, I reject that and leave it at that. You know, if this comes my way, I've already said I reject that. Now, them people over there are going to play and do their stuff, but I reject it. So you reject the negative coming in so that you can stay positive. But if you allow that chaos to affect your feelings and your emotions, and it gets you all upset, and your panties are in a wad, you know, you just got to say, get that knot in my undies undone. You know, got to be able to walk without looking like you got something up there. You know what I mean? You got to do a little better than that. A little Gertrude and Heathcliff from Red Skelton. But anyway, Gertrude and Heathcliff, the 2 seagulls. Anyway, so with meditation, please, if you know somebody that is, if their expectations are that they're going to reach nirvana all the time, or every time they do a meditation, or that there's going to be a certain feeling that always hits. When you learn to do this top of the hour thing, I remember something about on Sundays, I would do the local radio station, and they would have live preachers come into the studio. And some of them would bring their guitars, and one guy had a bass fiddle one time. It was really cool. And they were playing live some of that good old, sure enough, country church music, you know. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. Give me that old time religion. Anyway, but there's a lot to be said. I would sit there and go, you know, I'm an ex-Catholic, and here's all these Baptists and people coming in, but there's something that's said in the music, and it was like, well, do you believe in the Lord? Well, yeah, maybe not quite exactly like you folks do, but yeah. Do you believe in, you know, doing the right thing for people? Do you believe in, yeah. But there's something in that music, in that old time religion, that I was like, I always felt uplifted. And there was one, I don't think I'm making this up, but something about one of the preachers or somebody said that, you know, when every time he filled in, maybe that's what it was. He filled in as at the station if somebody was sick or whatever. And he said something about, I say a prayer at the top of every hour during my services. When I'm doing the Sunday service, which was like 6 a.m. till 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was all gospel and preaching and stuff like that. But anyway, and he was like, and so he did a little preaching on the side himself, which I find, I guess I'm sort of doing in a way, but without using any holy book or anything. But because all religions matter, there are parts that are so similar within each of the religions. That's what we need to focus on. And that old time music with the clapping and the stomping and the singing and the harmony, the voices lift up, and you don't have to be a Baptist or even a Christian to understand there's a prayer in that energy with the music. And I'm praying, maybe not necessarily my picture of God, I'm praying to him, but it might not be the same as what the old lady standing next to me is thinking. He's an old white man on a throne. That's not my vision. But if she's praying to the supreme being and the creator, it just happens to, because of the religion, he's sitting on a throne in a robe. But we're praying to the same general place. So to me, the music, and I played guitar and was one of the leads in a play called Smoke on the Mountain, and there was a lot of uh, old time religion music played. We had guitars and bass fiddle, and it was great. I mean, that we did so well. They held it over for another week. It was a 2-week run, and we ended up doing 3 weekends. It was so much fun. But playing live music on a stage in front of 100 people, in a small auditorium, it was just, I mean, folks just right there in front of you. And the harmonies and people in the audience, you can just feel the hair on your arm stand up when you hit them notes just right in 2 and 3 part harmonies. And so, but anyway, so there is a lot to be said. I say that in that if you have some music or something that enlightens you and helps you to feel light and airy and open, then that music can be transcendental for you. It can help you with that prayer. So, but if you're listening to headbang music and screaming all the time, not the kind of vibration you want to send into the universe. But if there's some kind of thing, a little bit of flute music or something that helps you to feel at peace, or and it doesn't just have to be like Native American. It could be, a song from the past that's got a good melody, but, don't stop believing, blah, 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 blah. Um, you know, uh, it could be Queen, for example, but hey, Robert, how are you? And let's see, Maverick, Truth in Me. I see you. I see you folks finally drugged yourselves in here. I'm kidding. I love you all. Thank you. But so, for the idea of the meditation, that you got to give yourself a break. You don't reach nirvana every time, but nirvana is all around you all the time. So when you understand, well, wait a minute, I'm trying to reach this state of being. I'm trying to close my mind and focus and all this kind of good stuff, which is okay. But you've got the rest of your life going on. But so you're trying to reach nirvana when all you got to understand that it's already touching us. We're already a part of it. All we have to do is absorb it. Just whoops, here it is, wow, I just got bathed in nirvana, and I don't mean the rock group, but that could be interesting. But anyway, change that picture. So our realities, what we think of, our intent. So we wake up in the morning with a good intent, and if things come into our day, and we find that our original 1 or 2 sentence intent has been fractured or pushed aside or somehow disrupted, you go, hang on. Now, there were times when machines would break down and whole lines would go down, and we had to get our shit together and get it back up and running right away. This was like, you got to do this right now. Now, there are those situations, but a lot of times as things will come into us that's happened, or we got to deal with, or it just pisses us off, or whatever it is, but it will knock us off balance. So at lunchtime, you read your email, or see, back in the day, we didn't have all this smartphone stuff. So, but now everybody's, oh my God, look what just happened. Yeah, hang on there. Is it hitting you with whatever that you're looking at or reading at or whatever, and swaying you from what your original intent was for the day? Now, I find that, there are times when I do not want to look at the screen. I do not want to open this thing up or listen to the news, nothing. And it's not that I don't want to be informed, it's just that it's so, to me anymore, a lot of it is just so boring and they're repeating themselves over and over. And people are getting more angry about this again and again. It's just becoming tiresome. And it's like, it's not that I want, something big, bad, nasty to happen, but how come the truth about our local doctors who are curing people of the 19 by using what the president said, and why aren't these things big? Those that annoys me. But in the long run, what can I do? We have this conversation. We have conversations with each other. Remember, it's like a mosquito in a chain link fence. Just keep that in mind. Virus versus mask, mosquito versus chain. Just that's all you got to say. And just walk away and smile. So, but anyway, so our intent. So, top of the hour, what's my intent for the day? It's just a little reminder. But if you practice it, if you give it a chance, you'll find out that things that used to bug you through the day, your mind has been altered slightly because now you've linked an unconscious thought consciously. Okay. It's in RAM memory somewhere, so you don't really see it when it's running your computer. But if it's necessary, a blink, it jumps in there, right? If you understand a little bit about the code, and anyway, so but we're linking that thought, which you want to keep subconsciously. In a way, it's sort of like a self hypnosis. You're repeating the same thing over and over. Now, for Catholics, and I still have a rosary somewhere around here. And there are times when I just get out, I want to say the rosary. Now, I know the Mother Mary thing, but to me, I know what it means to me personally, having nothing to do with religion. So, um, but it will help me sometimes when I really need to connect. So I say, Hail Mary, full of grace, and I go through the whole spiel. And it's my connection to the mother. And if that helps me at that time of need, why not, right? So a lot of religions have prayer beads, and there are monks who walk around with these long strings of beads and everything, and for every bead there's a prayer, and it may just be a one-line little prayer. So the top of the hour thing is sort of like a prayer bead, all right? But we're just using time as that link for everything. So regardless of where we are on the planet, regardless of the time zones, the top of every hour, we say a little diddly. If we can out loud, because that does help with the vibrations. But if we're in an area where we'll just think it, that's okay. And it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, and at the end of a week or two or three or four, there's gonna be an awareness of, oh my God, I don't even have. I'll look at the clock and go, it's the top of the hour without looking at the clock, which is another good thing to use for this. If you're trying to help expand your mind and your awareness, you want to be able to learn how to tell time by that method I've talked about. Pick one clock, and so that when you want to look what time it is, you just close your eyes for a split second and read it. You don't anticipate it. Well, how many hours has gone by? Well, what time is it? No. And I've got it's I'm so accurate at times it still spooks me. Okay, but because I will literally be outside or something. I don't wear a watch or carry a cell phone or anything like that. So I'm gonna go, wonder what time it is. Well, and I'll read the clock, and then I'll walk in the house and go, crap, it took me 5 minutes to get here, and oh man, I got that thing right on the nose again. But in your awareness of you want to be able to expand your awareness. So if you can tell time without looking at a watch, important. because you're using your psychic abilities. You're starting to progress out of just this meat sack. You're starting to be a spirit again. You're using this long range vision thing, and you're using your psyche, and you're getting better. That's how you can tell. So, the my talking about being able to learn how to astral project. You start in a bed or a comfortable chair, whatever, and then you get up from the chair physically, go in another room and look at that room and check out different things, and then go back in and sit back down, lay back down, whatever. Close your eyes and visualize walking out of the room, down the hall or whatever, and into that same room. You use the same room over and over and over again until you get practice, and then you pick another room. But in that, you'll see things in your astral body that you didn't notice in your 3D body. And you go back into the room. I did this a couple of times and went, I didn't notice that spot over there on the drape, or I didn't know there was something over there, or on the shelf, or I didn't know there was, it's very interesting. So your perception of things grows. So that's what we're all after, right? We're not necessarily want to read each other's minds, but to be able to read each other's feelings or intent. Like, I'm having this feeling that, I don't mean right now, but I mean, so through there, I'm having this feeling, there's somebody talking about doing a meditation. I need to see about doing a thing. And well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to send out a little meditation right now, and do it. So we can act on it at all times. We can send out several little diddly prayers through the day. But I mean, if you're busy and you're active and you're focused on stuff, but if you look up at the clock and go, oh, well, it's 5 minutes till, close enough, or it's 10 minutes after, close enough. Because the idea is not the specific time. It's that you're keeping your mantra, that prayer going throughout the day. You're teaching yourself to meditate 24 hours a day, so to speak. So it is an awareness. How do I stay in touch? How do I get in touch? How do I realize? And then you start picking up vibes of, like I've had times when I'm like, wonder how Michelle is doing, or wonder how such and such is doing. We were all discussing the other day about Millie Cow, and he shows up in the chat the other night. I mean, how good is that? We put out the thought, we hope you're doing well. And long time, and here he was in the chat room. So in a way, that's proof to me that, guess again, gang, we do have an influence. It's been a while since he hung out with us. But he checked in because several of us were thinking about him. Now, is that synchronicity? That's proof to me that we are all linked together in this like-minded being. So whether he was online or not, there were enough of us that were sending him this psychic message because he'd been in the chat with us before. So we had sort of a link with Millie Cow. So now that when we send this out and a couple of days later, ba-ding, he shows up in the chat room to say he's doing fine. So our prayers were worth it. It worked, right? How much more proof do some of us need? And how many times have you folk out there, I'll bring a topic up and you go, man, this is exactly what I needed today. And I go, well, that was worth it right there. So whoever you are, regardless of the situation, having the topic, or maybe just having the opportunity to come hang out with us, so we know we're sharing the energy versus, well, I'm not doing a video but I'm still thinking about you guys, okay, and gals and folk, So it's like, I'm walking the dog and I'm thinking about a video and who's here and blah, 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 and, So, but the idea that to do the video and to have us all participate in whatever way we do, now our energies are really linked, you see. So, but we can turn off the video and that subsides, but we're still linked because it's a little tiny little sliver of a message. But some of us can tell what, oh, I wonder how wonder what's going on, or wonder, you know, and that's proof that we are linked, and that the more we practice this and the more we are aware of, we're literally sharing thoughts on a continuous basis with each other. Now, so this top of the hour meditation thing, well, is this poo poo or not? Well, not really, because for me, and having seen over the last several years how it's just kind of sort of changed my whole perception and stuff. The things that used to piss me off, my mantra is I'm praying for this for today, and this comes in, and my eyebrows get furrowed, and I get grumpy and want to kick the dirt, stub my toe, and realize it was all a bunch of nonsense, and that I need to go back to my prayer. It's like, oh, this thing's tried to knock me over. This thing, I'm standing on a surfboard, anyway. So, but anyway, I'm going to pull a couple of cards. Gosh, it's been an hour and 1 minute. Okay. I hope this helps any of you, all of you, because the realization that each of us are still there after the chat's gone and after the video's over, we're still connected. We're still here. Hawkeye's still here. You guys, wherever you may be, you're still there. Hi, Ed. How are you? I don't think I've seen you before. Blessings, greetings, and welcome. So, but anyway, it is our intent and our belief. If you believe 100.10001%, then you will know that whatever prayer you do is going to make a difference. It's going to be a pebble dropped into the universe, and you can't take it back. Understand it, believe it, and no matter what you're doing or what time, however, whatever kind of meditative state, you got a chance to drop a marble in the universe. You got that chance to send out ripples. And if you learn and practice this, you'll realize your whole day does become a prayer. Because I studied years ago about the monks and stuff, and I was like, now how does this shit actually work? You can't be in a meditative state all day long. You're not going to be able to get anything done. And then I realized while I'm doing stuff, I'm meditating. And I was like, well, now how did that happen? So the merging of the two isn't as far-fetched as many of us may think. So, but it's the awareness. Yes, it can happen. Yes, I can read the clock without having to look at it. Yes, I can, I know that I'm going to still be connected with my friends after this live stream is done. Yes, I know that this, and yes, I'm positive that every small prayer and big prayer is helping the universe. I believe it. And believe it. Because nobody can take that away from you. They can come up and go, well, what are you believing in over there, Hawkeye? Well, I believe my prayers are making a difference. Well, how do you know? Well, I just do. Well, how do you know? Well, because somebody said in the chat, and I got a message from here, and somebody over here said, and I just know, because I'm aware of all these things, I can see energy coming back, and can hear prayers coming in, and comments and stuff, and love, and so, and no matter what religion is it? It's not. It's spirituality. But who do you believe in? I believe in the Creator, and I believe in all of us and all beings. Well, what religion are you? I'm not. Well, are you an agnostic? Well, no. I believe in a Creator. I believe in a Supreme. But so what text do you read? But do you read the Bible? What version? Are you a Koran type person, or are you reading the Old Testament? Are you a Jew? No, I'm just a spiritual being, and I am just aware of these things, and I believe it. Okay, there you go. So, do I have to be Native American? No. Do I have to be Jewish? No. It's the belief. I am spirit. I am part of the whole thing. And then as we progress with our thoughts and our awareness, and we realize, so wait, let me see how many marbles I can find, because I want to keep dropping these little pellets of positivity into the universe. Ooh, there goes one, ding. So in my mind, I send out a prayer, and it's a little tiny little dot of peace. Boing, it goes out there. Can't take it back. So, and the more we believe this, and the more we understand it, and the more that it gains, because it's collectively, it grows, because we can't take it back, you know? So, all the evil that's going on, it's reverberating around, and this and that and the other thing. So, when there's this negative ding, we're sending all these positive prayers out there. And you say, well, I don't know, what am I? Well, I'm just one person. Yeah. But if you only knew how powerful you were, or are, I should say, then you would understand that we're helping to hold the evil at bay. We're helping to keep it from getting any crazier, you know? And it could be worse. Just saying. Now, let me shuffle cards. I was intrigued today. I hate to bring up the mask thing again, but I was intrigued today that there were several colleges the students were coming in on the campus and everything, and there were very few of the students that had any mask on, and they were just like going back to school, and the mandate of the school, and they were saying, well, we can tell people to do this and that and that and this, but what are we going to do if the students doesn't comply? What? And the students are like, let's have football. Well, but 14 people got COVID. Well, there's information out there that some of these testing procedures are actually creating false positives. So my doctor warned my friend, if you feel sick, don't get tested, because we've had too many false positives. So it's like, so what do we want to do? They want this card. I think we've done rabbit before, actually. But all right, so rabbit's one of the cards. I'm going to shuffle and do this again. I'm doing it down here on my lap while I'm talking to y'all. And I want to pay attention to the chat, but my glasses are weird and there's too much glare for some reason. It's hurting my eyeballs. Rabbit is good. And rabbit was right side up too. So, but I just picked it up and it was upside down. So I'll have to read the contrary of rabbit as well. That's the card you want me to have? Let me see. Curious. Okay. Armadillo. I don't think I didn't even know I had an armadillo card. How about that one? The other one was hummingbird. Yeah, they want hummingbird. This may be a 3-card draw. Usually things are done in threes, and I've just been pulling 2 cards recently. It's just been my own personal thing, but at the moment they're saying, nah, we need a 3-card spread. So the 3 cards that I have them laid out now are, and that's interesting. I put rabbit in the middle, but it's armadillo 28, rabbit is number 30, and hummingbird is 44 as far as the number of the cards. So, but anyway, let me get a little sip of something and I'll get the book out and we'll start with armadillo. Because as I ended up laying these out, the armadillo was first, and it's first in the book. Let me get my other glasses too. These are stronger. So how y'all doing? I'm Brown Rabbit, born year of tiger in the season of water. Very good. Hi, Barry. How are you? I don't know if I said hey to you. Ed Hagel, how are you? I stopped listening to the radio and TV, and my whole world got to be much more quiet. Yep, truth in me. We still have to keep up. Yep. Um, it's good to see. It's good to see all y'all in there. Scratch and everybody. So, um, armadillo. Oh, this is interesting. The topic for armadillo is boundaries. What? Michelle, if you're there. Armadillo. Armor all my boundaries. Teach me my shields. Reflect all the hurt, so I will not yield. God almighty, is that what I was just not talking about? We have to shield ourselves, but holy crap. Sometimes these when I pull these cards after the fact, and I pulled them the other day before, but it still worked out with the eagle and the badger. Holy crap. Anyway, all right, here we go. Hey, Robert V. Armadillo, number 28, boundaries. Welcome back, Robert. Armadillo wears its armor on its back, its medicine a part of its body. Its boundaries of safety are a part of its total being. Armadillo can roll into a ball and never be penetrated by enemies. Now, I've seen a lot of armadillos, but I've never seen them curl up in a ball. They will kind of get sort of curled, but not like you would imagine. Not to say they don't, but I've never seen one do it. What a gift it is to set your boundaries so that harmful words or intentions just roll off. Your lesson is in setting up what you are willing to experience. If you do not wish to experience feeling invaded, just call on armadillo medicine. A clue to how to proceed is to make a circle on a piece of paper and see it as a medicine shield. In the body of the shield, write all that you are desiring to have, do, or experience. Include all the things that give you joy. This sets up boundaries that allow only these chosen experiences to be a part of your life. These boundaries become a shield that ward off the things which are undesirable to you. The shield reflects what you are and what you will be. No, I'm sorry. The shield reflects what you are and what your will is to others on an unconscious basis. Outside of the shield, you may put up what you are willing to experience by invitation only. You know, I'm always talking about, accept and receive and reject that which. Bye, Candy Apple. Hi, Aurora Rain. So the shield reflects what you are and what your will is to others on an unconscious level. Outside of the shield, you may put up what you are willing to experience by invitation for only. For example, a visit from a long-lost relative or criticism from friends or people needing handouts. So you put your armor up. If Armadillo has waddled into the cards you chose, it is time to define your space. You may have been too willing to let your house become a bus station. You may find that you cannot say no even when you know that you will have to cancel plans to be obliging. This routine can get old in a hurry. So many of us are having those kinds of issues in that, we just, we try to be good, but sometimes we have to call on Armadillo. It may be time to ask yourself the following questions. Am I honoring the time I need for my personal enjoyment? Do others treat me like a doormat? Why do I always get upset when I'm taken for granted? Some of us have experienced that recently. Is there a reason for my being a yes person? Well, it depends on what you're saying yes to, but all of the answers to these questions relate to setting up boundaries, what you will and won't do, what makes you feel uncomfortable, and what is comforting to you. How you react in any circumstance has to do with your ability to be objective participant. Remember, I'm always talking about being objective. Don't be positive or negative. You got to be objective and look at the whole thing. You cannot be objective if you cannot tell where the other person's personality stops and where yours begins. So you're having an argument with somebody, and the argument and the thing, and it gets heated, and then blah blah blah, and not good. Ask yourself if you are really feeling depressed, or if this feeling actually belongs to the person you are talking to. Or maybe you're thinking about a person, or maybe a situation is depressing you. You're not depressed. The situation you're thinking about makes you depressed. There's a difference. Then allow armadillo's armor to slice in between, giving you back your sense of self. I'm always talking about that core value. We got to keep ourselves strong, because we can't help another damn soul, especially ourselves, if we're not there. Hey, Al, how you doing? Um, Apparently you are safe, otherwise you wouldn't be in the chat. So I'm glad of that. Now, 28 was armadillo. Number 30 is rabbit. I'm pretty sure I talked about rabbit before. Yes, I did, because Rabbit was a fearless warrior, and he befriended Eyewalker. Scared little rabbit, please drop your fright. Running doesn't stop the pain, nor turn the dark into light. So a long time ago, Rabbit was a brave and fearless warrior, and Rabbit was befriended by Eyewalker. And Rabbit is fear. So now Armadillo is saying we need to set our boundaries. And Rabbit's going to teach us here our boundaries based on fear. And okie dokie. Sometimes these cards, putting them together is just, it blows my mind. So Eyewalker and Rabbit were very close, spent much time talking and sharing. And one day they were walking along and they sat down to rest. Rabbit said, "I'm thirsty." And Eyewalker picked up a leaf, blew on it, and then handed Rabbit a gourd of water. Rabbit drank, and later on, but didn't say anything. And then Rabbit said, "I'm hungry." And Eyewalker picked up a stone and blew on it and changed it into a turnip. She gave the turnip to Rabbit to eat. Rabbit tasted it and then ate the turnip with relish, hamburger relish or pickles but still Rabbit didn't say anything. The two continued along the trail which led into the mountain. Near the top, Rabbit tripped and fell and rolled almost to the bottom of the mountain. Rabbit was in very sad condition when Eyewalker got to him. She used a magic salve on Rabbit to heal his great pain and mend his broken bones. Rabbit didn't say anything. Several days later, Eyewalker went searching for her friend. She searched high and low, but Rabbit was nowhere to be found. Finally, Eyewalker gave up. But she met Rabbit quite by accident one day later. "Rabbit," she said, "why are you hiding and avoiding me?" "Because I am afraid of you. I am afraid of magic," answered Rabbit. "Leave me alone." "I see," said Eyewalker. "I have used my magical powers on your behalf, and now you turn on me and refuse my friendship." I want nothing more to do with you or your power, said Rabbit. Rabbit did not even see the tears his words were bringing to Eyewalker's eyes. I hope we never meet again and that I never see you again, Rabbit continued. Rabbit Eyewalker said, we were once great friends and companions, but no more. It is within my power to destroy you. But because of the past and the medicines we have shared together, I will not do this. But from this day forward, I lay a curse on you and your tribe. From now on, you will call your fears, and your fears will come to you. Be on your way, for the sweet medicine that bound us together as friends is now broken. Now, Rabbit is the fear caller. He goes out and shouts, Eagle, I am so afraid of you. If Eagle doesn't hear him, Rabbit calls out louder, Eagle, stay away from me. Eagle, now hearing Rabbit, comes and eats him. Rabbit calls bobcats, wolves, coyotes, and even snakes until they come. As this story shows, rabbit medicine people are so afraid of tragedy, illness, disaster, and being taken that they call these very fears to them to teach them lessons. So the more we fear the mass thing, the more we fear the fear, we're just calling it to us. We're asking it to come and give us a lesson. So what you fear most is what you will become. I was neurotic there for a while, and I was neurotic there for a while. Here is the lesson. If you pulled rabbit, stop talking about horrible things happening and get rid of what if in your vocabulary. This card may signal a time of worry about the future or of trying to exercise your control over that which is not yet in form. In other words, you're worried about something that hasn't happened yet. It might happen. Stop it. We're calling the fears to us. The end of the world is coming. We're all going to die. I was one of those. But you can't do it. Of course, we're all going to die sometime. That's just part of the deal. But we need to quit being like rabbit and calling the fear to us and calling, oh my God, I might get eaten by a bear. I talked about that. And, my fear of the bear was, I'm not going to piss it off, but it went away. But if I had been fearful, could have got eaten by that bear. Boy, man, something heavy just went through. Wow, my ears are ringing and pressure. Whoa. Anyway, so here's the lesson. If you take out the what if in your vocabulary, this card may signal a time of worry about the future or of trying to exercise your control. In other words, we want to, and some of us you may think about this. If control means to manifest also. So if you want to manifest a better tomorrow, you're also kind of wanting to control what tomorrow's going to be. Tomorrow might not be what I want it to be. It might be 102, or it might be a thunderstorm and it rain all day. But either one was going to keep me from doing outside chores, bottom line. But if I worry about it, oh my God, what if it rains tomorrow? There's just so much that doesn't do. And it says, stop now, write your fears down and be willing to feel them. Breathe into them and feel them running through your body into Mother Earth as a giveaway. So get rid of the fears. But we got to, first Armadillo says, I can't do this really. I'm curious about what Hummingbird's going to do. But Armadillo is the medicine, and that's our boundaries. And Rabbit is saying we need to face our fears. And so we've got boundaries with fears. It's what I sort of been talking about. And number 44, which is Hummingbird. This stuff blows me away when I do this. Oh, sorry. There's Spider. And hummingbird, it's the last one in the book too, as just as a hummingbird. Hummingbird, joyful little sister, nectar you crave. All of the sweetness of the flowers is the love you gave. Hummingbird is joy. Interesting. We've got set boundaries, fears, and joy. Hummingbird is associated with the ghost shirt religion, which taught that a certain dance done properly would bring about the return of the animals and that white people would disappear. Well, I'm not all white, so anyway. Once again, the original people would know the joy of the old ways. In Mayan teachings, hummingbird is connected to the black sun and the fifth world. Hummingbird can give us the medicine to solve the riddle of the contradiction of duality. What? Let me go that. Hummingbird can give us the medicine to solve the riddle of the contradiction of duality. So now there's a lot of fear out there that is sort of being dual, like, well, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, it is good, it's not good, duality. Protection, fear, okay. The song of hummingbird awakens the medicine flowers. Hummer sings a vibration of pure joy. Flowers love hummingbird because nectar sucking brings about the reproduction of their families. Plants flower and live because of hummingbird. Hummingbird can fly in any direction, up, down, backward, sideways. And as a matter of fact, hummingbird, me and the dog was looking out the window over here the other day. I mean, just like yesterday. And the hummingbird came right up to the window and stared right at Duggar. And I was looking right at the Duggar and looking at the hummingbird. I mean, right there at the window, real low. It was great. Stayed there for a second and flew off, you know. Great Spirit created women. Hummingbird can also hover in one spot and appear to be motionless. Great Spirit created hummingbird to be slightly different from other feathered creatures. Because of their magical qualities, hummingbird feathers have been used for a millennium in the making of love charms. It is said that hummingbird conjures love as no other medicine does, and that hummingbird feathers can open the heart. Without an open and loving heart, you can never taste the nectar and pure bliss of life. So we've got armadillo, that's we have to find our boundaries. We have to use rabbit and acknowledge our fears, but then we have to open our hearts to accept the joy that is there. Without an open and loving heart, you can never taste the nectar and pure bliss of life. So if you want, boy, does this really fit for this subject? So we're trying to meditate and we're trying to learn and we're trying to achieve nirvana. But if we have all these other things and our heart isn't open, then, and we're dealing with fear from rabbit and we haven't set our boundaries, you know, so then how can hummingbird come in and how can we see the bliss? How can we see nirvana, if you will, with our meditations? To brother and sister hummingbird, life is a wonderland of delight, darting from one beautiful flower to another, tasting the essences and radiating the colors. If hummingbird is in your personal medicine, your love life and its joys. Your presence brings joy to others. You join people together in relationships which bring out the best in them. You know instinctively when beauty abides near or far. You journey to your ideal. You move comfortably within a beautiful environment and help others taste the succulent nectar of life. Now, that could be said that that message is for me, but that message is for all of us. Each of us has hummingbird medicine if we allow it to. Hummingbird holds the bow, the bow of beauty, which is delicately inlaid with gold and silver flowers, pearls, and precious jewels. Hummingbird disdains ugliness or harshness and quickly flies away from discords or disharmony. If Hummingbird has flown into your cards, get ready to laugh musically and enjoy Creator's many gifts. Drop your judgmental attitude and relax. Hummingbird will no doubt give you a flash of the spirit, darting here and there and everywhere. Get ready for a strange new burst of energy, which may send your senses reeling. Hummingbird hears celestial music and is in harmony with it. Hummingbird may invite you to an art museum or a concert. Hummingbird energetically embraces the highest aesthetics. Never be coarse in front of Hummingbird, for this is a fragile medicine which may have no understanding of worldly affairs. Beauty is the target, and Hummingbird's mission is to spread joy or to be destroyed. Hummingbird quickly dies if caged, caught, or imprisoned. Follow Sister Hummingbird, and you will soon be filled with paroxysms of joy and experience in a renewal of the magic of living. So Rabbit's trying to kill himself all the time. Armadillo needs protection. But at the same time, in order to see the joy in the universe, we have to allow Hummingbird to come in. Wow. Interesting 3 cards. Wow. They're telling me I need to read Hummingbird's contrary side. Okay. It was right side up. Okay. The contrary, if I had pulled Hummingbird upside down. If contrary Hummingbird is in your cards in any configuration, it speaks to you of matters of the heart. How or why has your heart center closed? So, although this isn't contrary, the card was right side up. It does help with this. Have you done something callous to another, causing them to shut off the love they once felt for you or another? The contrary Hummingbird may presage sorrow and the inability to see the many blessings we two-leggeds have been given and the primordial beauty that surrounds us. I was talking about way earlier on, that the universe is all around us. Nirvana, it touches us. If we're aware of it, we're swimming in nirvana. And the primordial beauty that surrounds us. If contrary Hummingbird sings its forlorn song, perhaps you should journey into your personal pain and know that your sorrow is your joy in another reflection. Let me read that last part again. Perhaps you should journey into your personal pain. Armadillo says boundaries. Rabbit says fears. And know that your sorrow is your joy in another reflection. So actually the contrary seemed to hit a little. They both work, because if somehow we've closed our hearts off, or we've become callous. Now you always hear me talking about being the conscientious observer, and you're welcome, Truth in Me. Hummingbird is your inner child and happiness. But it could also mean, Maverick, and I agree with you, that Hummingbird may be a sign that some of us are closing off our hearts. Now, when I was talking about mask and that doesn't do any good. Hang on here a second. I was talking about the fact that the masks are masking off this and that, and it's hiding our true emotions, and they're placing it on us to hide. And, there's besides all these other things, but the symbology of it. But in that, is it closing us off? So if I talk to you like this all the time, and I say, "Why, hi, how everybody? How y'all doing? Y'all good today?" Well, I'm hiding behind my mask, and but I'm still here, and everything's good. It's not the same as being able to see someone's expression, whether they're smiling or not, it's just this blank spot right here. So now, to me, it's much more, there's a lot more to this mask thing than the virus. I'm just saying. But in that is it closing off our hearts because we're not breathing right. And the card I pulled the other night, which was the eagle, that said air is so important to us. We need to breathe in the air, and we need to take that energy and that medicine. And we need to be able to be up in the clouds and look at the whole shebang and take into consideration, So, but yes, we need to understand that there is joy all around us. But at the same time, it is a warning. Have we closed our hearts off? Have our hearts been closed off for us? Is the chaos and the fear from Rabbit, oh my God, I can't believe these 3 cards. Man, they really hit the number. I'm either really good at this or really dadgum lucky as far as pulling these cards with the subject matter that I happened to choose at the time. And David Castle said, I just got my notification. And yeah, it's been a couple hours now, hasn't it? An hour and a half. Break the cycle. There is nowhere on this planet that you don't find this herding mandate at play, whether it is national herds, cultural herds, traditional, whatever, political or small. Yep. Break the cycle of school, social circus, and everyone is locked into the corral of the indescribable forces, a herding mandate. What each warrior on this path is seeking to overcome is all this herd mentality. I'm reading. I'm assuming you're going to put mentality down, break the cycle, but to the point, yeah. And I was encouraged when they showed on the news today, which I very rarely watch, these college kids going back to school, and that they were like, ain't wearing a mask, up and down the halls and around, ain't wearing a mask. And I'm going, well, thank you. The brick, thanks you, summed it all up for me, just fantastic. Break the cycle. My apologies, I had to break it apart because of a word limit. Oh, I know, it's no problem, break. Keeping it real. No one needs a thing from end all be all. Trust me, that man's dangerous. He almost killed me years ago. Plus, all he wants is phone sex. Who is? Keeping it real. Who is a man's dangerous? Anyway. The idea, though, that let me break this back down. A day or two ago, or one of my previous videos, I'll just leave it at that, recent previous videos, I was talking about that, personally as a shaman and doing these things, I was trying to ward off these evil entities, like stay away, go away, and do this kind of thing. And I realized that hanging, they whooped my butt because they're a lot stronger than this old white boy is, And so, and I realized that unless I attained a level of shamanic medicine, that I could actually go one-on-one with one of these dark entities, like hell no. But I realized that, and it was a hard lesson to learn, but I realized that my power was in my own shield. So they could come at me, but, if I tried to attack them or project my shield outward too far, they whoop my tail. But if I kept it closed in, and like, in boxing, you hold your hands up, you shield yourself. But if you go doing this number and put your hands out here, you're going to get smacked. And I did. several times, and it hurt physically and emotionally and spiritually. Got my butt kicked. So, but if we are strong in our energies, then they can kind of like poke at us and, but the other thing that I realized in the dark energy, like they're going to exist. And no matter how much pushing, shoving, and whatever, if they ain't bothering me and they're just wandering around, then I got no cause to make them go away. But I can acknowledge their right to exist, whether I like it or not. And they, realize that I can go over there and poke at this guy, but what good is it going to do me unless he pisses me off or whatever? Um, there comes a mutual understanding of, well, unless you bump into me or something, or unless, I'm not attacked near like I had been, because I'm not pushing too far out with this protection thing, or I got all this energy and look at me, I'm quote powerful in that I can ward off evil spirits. Well, you go putting that out there and shoving it in their face, it's just like Rabbit going, here I am, Eagle, don't eat me, don't eat me, and then he does. So in that, I had to realize I had to be Armadillo, and I had to, my boundaries are right around here, and there's a time or two where I can project them out a little bit and kind of pull somebody in and help them into my energy shield thingy or whatever. But that basically, we have to keep ourselves strong. If we're the Starship Enterprise and the shields go down, there's life support systems that are in jeopardy, and you got to seal off deck 8. You know what I'm saying? So, and deck 8 can be part of your brain or your liver or whatever. So, the idea though that when all the shields are up and working, everybody's fine inside. It doesn't necessarily mean we're at red alert, but our shields are up and working. So, little dings and this and that can't penetrate us. We're can stay relatively okie dokie. Now, not to say that there aren't entities that can come in, but if you're like Rabbit and are scared, you're calling for them, which is what I was doing. And in doing so, I was so worried about the dark side of things, hummingbird. Now, my heart wasn't closed off, but I wasn't seeing the joy because I was worried about all the evil. So one of the best ways to get a negative energy to get away from me is to laugh. It's like they don't like that. If you're screaming and crying and stuff, man, they love that. But if you're laughing, not necessarily at them, or like, oh, okay, you don't dare them to like, you think you can get me? Don't say that. Don't even think it. But you can think, well, my armor's up and I'm as protected as I'm going to be, and leave it at that in the thought process. If you let it out there that, well, if you think you can whoop my ass, evil spirit, you might just get kicked right around this planet 2 or 3 times. So be careful in that respect. But and I just avoid that at all costs. Oh man, that was a really hard lesson for me to learn. Man, oh man. But so in keeping it real and keeping it positive, we set our boundaries. We quit screaming at the universe to come and destroy us, and we understand that through all of this, we need to still be able to look at the joy in the universe that is all around us. That's like my prayer. Accept and receive the healing, the wisdom and the knowledge. And, and in all of that is the joy of the universe. It is the nirvana, So for those of you who got here late, I love you all. Oh my God, there's 20 folks here at one time. That's one of the highest ever. Greetings and blessings to all of you, my friends and acquaintances and members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. Maverick, David Castle, Break the Cycle, Scratch is still there. I think it depends on the entity you're facing. I had one entity gave me a hard time before. Agreed, break the cycle. I absolutely agree. But the thing is we do not act like rabbit and and call them out to us. There are some folks that don't realize they're doing it, but they are. And by quote protecting themselves, it's their fear that's actually drawing them in. You can protect yourself, but if I just this is strange. Okay, let me see if I can explain this. I always stay protected, but I don't worry about what. In other words, I've seen other dark entities and I've had these things kick my butt. But I don't, it way back somewhere in the back of my mind, my brain knows this, but I don't think about I'm protecting myself from evil entities. No, I'm protecting myself, period. Now, it's sort of, you could, the rest of that sentence is just sort of given, you know what I mean? Well, I'm protecting myself against evil spirits. But you don't say it, you don't mention it, but it's part of it. You just know it, that without saying it, it's just there. I am protecting myself. I've got my shield of armor on, but you're not you're not picking any particular entity or anything. Well, this darkness, blah 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 blah. Now there may be something that is on you at a particular time, like what you call it, Break said, where you have to focus on this thing's trying to get me, and you got to focus on stay away, you that's trying to get me. But in an everyday, in an everyday situation, in keeping my armor up, I don't think of the entities. I just keep my armor up, and the universe sort of assumes the rest. I'm not protecting myself against other like-minded beings, am I? No. So if I'm protecting myself, it must be by rule of I'm protecting myself against something that may harm me. So it's given, but we don't say it. We don't speak it. There's many stories from different tribes about the ones you do not speak of. And I go, well, then why do you say that? Well, because we don't speak of them. Why? Because when we speak of them, it gives them energy and they can hear us. We don't speak of them. Well, what are they? Well, shut up. I'm already said too much. We're calling them in. But if they're the spirits we do not speak of, then how do we? Because we know they're there and we don't speak of them. Shut up. That's what they told me. And I was like, but if it's a spirit that you don't speak of, then how do you know? Because we don't speak of it. But we're all aware that it's there. Period. Now drop it, will you? And I just kept wanting to ask questions. And my spirit guide just slapped me upside the head and said, you need to be quiet, Hawkeye. You need to listen to what they say. But is that a shush? But the shush. We don't speak of them. We don't even think of them. But we all know they're there. Now leave it at that, because that's how powerful these beings are. But I had to keep asking, who are you? And what are you? And what are you? The nameless ones and blah, blah. Oh boy, slap, slap, bang, bang, get thrown in the river, drowned, it's okay. Go ahead, talk about them or want to know about them or what are they or whatever. No, we all know they're there. We all know they exist. And it doesn't matter how powerful, they're really strong. Let's just leave it. They're the ones we do not speak of. They're not the nameless ones. We just don't speak of them in any way, shape, or form. We don't reference them. We don't. So, but we're all protected. Why? Because we know what we know. You mean the ones we do not? Would you stop it? Because every time I was like, are we? Yes. And we're speaking about the one but I ain't going to name them. And this is all you got to understand. Yes, they're there. We don't speak of them. Just say, well, what about the little kids you're trying to teach? You tell them There are spirits that are so bad we do not speak of them. And I can't, they're so bad, I'm not going to speak any more about them. And little kids that are around the campfire would go, you know, well, grandfather, if we cannot speak, my child, they're listening. We don't speak of them because they're listening. So we protect our armor, we do our thing, but anyway, but still there are some that want to come and kick our butts. But in the grand scheme of this, what it is, it's an overall understanding of the bigger picture. Yeah, there's stuff out there, okay, but I got my armor on. And my armor, I'm going to keep it as strong as possible. Regardless, you're not thinking about what, you just got your armor. Well, there's an enemy. Yeah, okay, there's an enemy. But what about that? We don't speak of, shush, would you stop it? It's just a given. They're there. Well, what about that one? Or what about that? This was my question. But is this one of just drop it, will you? There are critters out there, many of whom we don't speak their name, and just be strong with yourself, Hawkeye. It doesn't matter. I mean, oh God, this was a tough test for me. And then after my shaman friend left and I was left on my own, I went beyond there because I thought I needed to understand more. And well, here's the thing. If you don't believe in ghosts and then you see one, then you can't, like the story that happened with me about the guy who woke me up and saved us from getting the house burned. Well, the house burned down, but we weren't in it. So until you see a real ghost and it touches you and wakes you up and the house is on fire or whatever, you say, well, ghosts could exist. For me, you cannot convince me otherwise that they don't. I'm positive ghosts exist. Now, do they exist over here or there? No. But can they exist? Yes. Do they exist? Yes. So that's just a given. So I don't have to think about that part anymore. It's just a part of me now from now on. So having seen this UFO out my window for the last couple of years, I still keep an eye on it, but the idea of, oh, do aliens exist and are UFOs real? I've seen too many of them, and yeah, they are. So now it's just sort of okay, well, I saw one over here. Good for you. But what about this? And, there's proof, and I've already got my proof. So I can look at other folks' videos about UFOs and stuff. It's okay. But if you're trying to convince me, I don't need to watch your video. You understand? There's a difference. I'll watch it because it's interesting. But if you're trying to convince me that they're real, I'm already sold. You're preaching to the choir here. If you're trying to say, well, what about fairies or the little people? I've had my incidents with them. I don't have to, somebody, well, I'm going to show you that they're real. I already know they're real. Well, but this is, yeah, I know. But I've got pictures of some of these fairies. What? Yeah. And I've got pictures of orbs. What? Yeah, they're real. So once you are aware they're real, once your mind grasps this, you don't walk around every day going, I wonder if this is really true or not. It just sinks in. So when knowing that your armor is on, we all know that some of them orbs ain't nice, but are we worried about them? We shouldn't be. We should be worried about whether our armor is strong, because if it is, then if they get us, they're going to have a hell of a fight. But the thing is that if you have enough confidence in yourself, your spirit, and your soul, and your spirit guide, your guardian angel, whatever, and that you are strong, then you've got the power of the universe at your fingertips, so to speak, if that such happens. Now, if you go out there and try to pick on them a little bit or call them out like Rabbit does, well, then you might just get your butt whooped. So keeping it real, showing what? We don't need any more proof. Yeah, end all be all is an energy vampire. Oh, okay. I think I got a little people. Yeah. What about the black-eyed children? Now, there are some things about the black-eyed children. There's also something that I have discussed very briefly in little bleats about black goo. Now, there are some hybrid children out there. I am technically a hybrid children if the child if it's true about my blood type and my blue eyes, and if they're related to the Palladians, not, a lot of hearsay and don't have any proof. If a Palladian ship lands in the yard like they said they would, and we do a DNA test or something, then I'll be like, oh, okay. But the rest of it is just supposition. So, but the black-eyed children seem to be a real thing. And through DNA and changes, and I know children that I have met that were just angelic. And I know of such a person at the moment who I visit with. Actually, it's one of Duggar's um, family members that I had to take over. But anyway, the thing that they have abilities, and it's interesting that there's movies about you can take a pill and get a superpower, and that the all of the Agent X and this and all of the the different folks that the Agents of Shield and all. I mean, I love them DC comics and all, but that each person had this particular achieved a certain power. And now there's a big thing about the airbenders, and there's a whole new thing on Netflix and about the airbenders and the this and the that. And now where it used to be the guys now, and don't get me wrong, warrior princesses are fine with me, but it just seems like there's been a shift in, like, it was like the guy Sinbad the sailor. Okay, now Sinbad's got a sidekick, and it's a female. Okay, but now, not saying this is Sinbad, but now they've got to make all the characters female warriors. And now it's this girl, and now it's this girl, and now it's that girl, and she's the warrior, and it's the dumb guy that goes along with her. And I'm like, I'm all for equality, but better than and all. And there's been this major shift, and a lot of it has been in animation, where it's the girl who is more superior than the guy in all of these things, and the karate and the thing and the ninja. Okie doke, but it's been this weird shift. I mean, Elmira, okie dokie, the Animaniacs and Dot, but the idea though that they were both of the three of them, uh, thinking about the Animaniacs, but there's been this shift of thinking, and don't know what it really means, but it's been this big shift of thinking. I don't think I answered your question about the black-eyed children. Um, I'm just making sure everyone saw my message of saves lives is important. Lives hang in the balance. Watched that show last night. Matter of fact, they canceled Airbender, unfortunately. Aurora, is end all be all the name that even looks suspicious evil? Break the cycle. He's someone I used to follow. He and his wife, Gemma Bale, talked about attaining cognitive advancement and pragmatism in spiritual terms. Understood. Yeah. Um, yeah. There are some people who talk in these pragmatic ways, and I try my best not to drop names, but um, they're repeating the same things. They're trying to keep people in some. They're not giving answers. They're talking about, well, the world's going to end again and this and that, and it's like, oh God Almighty. And they're even talking about the same things about ET again. And do we not believe that there are ETs exist by now? You know, and those of us who don't believe, or those of them who don't believe, it's going to take something else. But the rest of us pretty much have seen enough stuff, and um, that we're, at least there's, instead of saying, no, I don't believe, they're in the at least, well, maybe category. So, so certain things that we discuss, and what is important now? Is it important that everybody sees the UFOs every day? Well, it's still, don't get me wrong, it's still good information, but it's not something that I am going down a rabbit hole to follow. It's interesting to see in the news. It's interesting to watch and absorb. But, those folks who are trying to make us believe that they're real, that kind of has gone down. The amount of people trying to convince us, okay? Now, showing people and sharing is different than trying to convince us. And there are some of these YouTube folks, you see that we photographed another one in third phase of the moon, I think it is, or something like that. Anyway, and these guys were like, see, there's another one. And it was all about the votes and the clicks and stuff. Why don't you just go, wow, I got another one. Look at that one, Joe. But no, they got to turn it into this thing. Okay. And I think most of us have had enough of that over the last several years. It's like, well, all right, there's another one. And not to say that they're not true or real or whatever, but it's the fact that they have to make up this byline story crap to go with it. That's what bugs me. Give me the information. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. But just trying to convince me that you're right and everybody else is wrong and all this. I'm just trying to bring out another point of view. I'm trying to show that there's a lot more to this story than some people are trying to talk about. And we need to look at the whole picture. We need to be like eagle and hawk, and we need to be like owl. And for God's sakes, if we've got fears, we need to quit screaming to the universe how scared we are. And, there's, I can't remember what it was, but part of the reason some of the folks talk about Revelations and the reason that the book of Revelations is even there is because that's the end plan. Everybody's got to be destroyed, and all these countries and all the war and all this stuff and all this has to come true in order for the prophecy to come true, because if they created it. So, and I was one of them folks now, look back a year or 2, 3 ago, and I've read passages from Revelations, might do it again, who knows. But my thinking on it is, wait a minute, the end is here, and so is the beginning. So, but wait a minute, but the planet is changing. This planet's never going to stop changing, for as long as humanity could be gone from this planet, and it could turn into a dust bowl or just a dust bank like Mars or something. Not that Mars is all doesn't have anything else, but the idea, though, that it's life in the universe. Planets and stars are born and galaxies. I mean, and we're a part of this whole scheme. But this idea that we're all going to die and we're, and here it is, another sun cycle. Yeah, there's people trying to say that this summer is worse than a couple of summers ago because of the sun cycle. And I got to say, nah, no. 2 summers ago, before the sun cycle and all this stuff, and we're in the Mondominion. It was hotter than crap here. I didn't have water. I've got two 1,000-gallon tanks full of rainwater, and one of them was half full, and the other one was three-quarter. And I didn't have any water in my well, and I'm done. I got water in my well, and both of my tanks are full. So, oh, this is so much worse. No, it ain't. I know from living right here. No, it ain't. This summer's been pretty much almost like normal. You don't remember what normal is? We went through several years of no rain for months here in South Georgia. I mean, it got so hard you couldn't. You'd need a pickaxe to dig a hole. Oh my God, this Georgia clay, when it gets hard, it's like concrete, and so, or worse, actually. But you can bust up concrete. You can't bust up the clay. But the idea, though, that we're all going to die and we're all going to this and we're all going to, of course we are. It's the universe. Now, I was one of these fear mongers. So, and I'm using rabbit and all of this, but we got to remember that there are those folks out there, and it's always going to be there, and they're all always, so our armor from Armadillo and our boundaries that we set is like, I know these folks are going to talk this stuff, but I refuse to accept. That's the deal. We make our choices what we accept and to receive. So if it's wisdom and knowledge from the universe, yeah. If it's cantankerous shit, don't want it, But anyway, my friends, it's been over 2 hours. Oh my gosh. No wonder I'm starting to get my my back cramping, etc. Scratch, I'm on about the UFO channels that show stuff for clicks. The one David mentions are clowns. Twice I've caught them scamming people. Yeah, I didn't really want to mention their names, but it has sort of slipped out. Keeping It Real says, I'm not writing in all caps anymore. I risked my life just now telling everyone the dangers of end all be all because I love you all. Cannot stop loving. Okay, adios, Keep It Real. Scratch, we're using glass to reflect lights, and people were falling for it. They aren't the only ones, but people like them annoy the hell out of me. Yep, I've invested money to find truth, and they ruin it. Exactly. The truth is out there. There are real UFOs. I chased one. I did a video one Christmas Eve. I chased it all the way down into Florida, and it got brighter for a while, and then it didn't. But and no, it wasn't Santa Claus, and no, it wasn't any star. Thank you, Maverick. 2 hours does seem tiring. Well, not really, because I'm not thinking about the time. But I looked at over here at the little thing, and I was like, "Holy crap! No wonder my back is." And I need to get up, and I probably will need to pee. But anyway, it's been great hanging out with you. I'm amazed that some people can do a stream for over 4 hours. I've done that. I just had a skunk 2 feet from me just now. It came in the house. Truth in me. Oh my goodness. Boy, them things. I had some friends of mine who had pet skunks, and even after they took the scent glands out, them were some smelly critters, let me tell you. Yeah, lucky you didn't get sprayed. Oh my God, that stuff is horrible. I gotta say though that the little skunk pets that I've had the opportunity to be around, they're cool little creatures. Skunks are cool little creatures, but man, them scent glands, holy mackerel. And like I say, even though they take them out afterwards, you can wash them and bathe them, and they still smell like skunk, just not as bad. Real musky, I used to be around ferrets. I used to have a ferret, and ferrets can be very musky, so you can wash them and bathe them and all that kind of good stuff, but next day they're going to smell like ferret. They're going to be musky, and that's who they are. So you just have to let that go. But anyway, Yeah, it's a strong defense mechanism, and even a badger will leave a skunk alone. And a badger's a. I've seen one badger in the wild when I was up north, and that was enough for me. I'm like, okay. So if somebody says there's a badger around, what? Okay, I'm not going to be scared. But I'm more scared. I would be more scared of a badger than I would be a bear, depending on the size of the bear. Just a regular black bear, I would rather take the black bear over the badger because I know how black bears act or react. Badgers, they just so yeah. I wouldn't mind having an owl as a pet. Unfortunately, yeah. Break the cycle. I worked with a center down here, and right up there, I have a stuffed hawk. They rehabilitated wild animals and that were hurt and so forth, and it was a rehabilitation center. I worked with them for years, and they had several owls. And owls are cool, but once you learn about an owl, you would not want it for a pet. I mean, having to the one owl was blinded in one eye. The other one had a broken wing and would never fly again. And the other one just couldn't fly because it couldn't see, but it had no depth perception. So they had to be fed every day and kept and so forth. But to see the majesty of an owl, you can't really see this. That's about a little over a foot. These things were, a barred owl was, about 16 inches. But having been around the owls and held them, and we used to do classes and so forth, the schools would come out and they'd do teaching centers and stuff, and I'd help with that. But um, the once you see the owl and know that it can't do its owl thing anymore, it's just sad. And if you had an owl, quote, as a pet, it wouldn't be your pet. Now I've got owls that come into my backyard and sit over and will hoot over a tree. And in that respect, I feel like we're akin. And in so many words, they're not necessarily my pets, but they're right back here in the backyard. So there are ways that you could call owl medicine and they would come and be around you more, or and it wouldn't be in your house, but the idea of having one as a pet, if you've ever really worked with animals or anything, and you look at the owl and you just go, nah. I hated keeping them in the cages, and it was for their own safety. I once saved an owl, and what? I missed that. But anyway, yeah, they were in their natural environment. Where we had the thing, it was just not too far from my house. There were nature trails and woods all around, and cages that were made out of wood, and and we kept them up and blah blah blah. Anyway, but Scratch ended up in a local paper for saving a badger after it got hit by a car, and I once saved an owl after the ambulance I was following hit it. I put it in my car and took it to the hospital. Yeah, owls are really cool beings, but the idea of having having something like that as a pet, it, um, ferrets, dogs, cats, some parakeets and things, okie dokie, but a majestic owl or whatever, it just hurts your feelings, and especially for it to. If you had it as a pet, it would be caged at some point. Owls have a nasty habit of flying out of nowhere in front of traffic. Yes, it do. Yes, they do. They can make you jump. I've been outside in my yard, and my neighbor over this way has a security light that shines all the way across my property. And there's this light zone, and I have to walk across it to go out and be able to see the stars right without it having this light glare in my eyes. That's 150 feet away. But anyway, I'll be standing out there, and an owl will literally like just swoop right over the top of my head, and I'll see it in the light as it goes over my head. I don't hear it or whatever. They're just, I see after it goes or when it crosses my path or something like that. But anyway, owls are really cool. And they will run as if they're chasing something on a road. Because I've unfortunately hit an owl one time and couldn't save it, but I did save its feathers. But he was on my door panel at the first, looking out the window. Then it ended up on the back, looking out that window. Download the mating calls. Yep. And there are lots of different types of owls too. So find out what's in your neighborhood. All right, listen, my friends, I love you. And thank you for coming and sharing and hanging out. What is y'all's basic premise of what I talked about a top of the hour meditation, a 2-minute top of the hour meditation? Do y'all get that? Just curious. Do y'all understand my point in that and how easy and simple it is? I want to have another group meditation here on this channel, but I got to find out what they're going to do with the phone lines. Literally, the phone lines are across my driveway, and they're going to bury them. And until I'm not going to make any concrete efforts until until I'm sure that the things are buried. That don't mean that the computer won't go down anyway, but I got phone lines laying in my driveway. So it's like, yeah, I don't want to make something in the future and then they're still burying the lines and my internet goes out like it did the other day. So I just want to be sure that they got that. So it might be another week before they do that. But anyway, Break says, I prefer the void meditation, but I was late to hear the rest too, so I couldn't understand the rest of your meditation experience or stories. Okay, got that. Okay. All right, just an idea. So watch the beginning if you came in late about doing the top of the hour meditation. Because it may be something that you will find that is interesting to do. And whether or not we're doing it as a collective, understand this. We're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it so that our armor and our protection and our awareness stays there. So if you missed that after this, I'm not going to repeat it now. Go back to the beginning of this and watch that and understand that we all have the potential. We all have the energy. We're swimming in nirvana. We just have to be able to be aware of it. So that's the ticket. My friends, thank you so much for being who you are. Continue to be who you are. Continue learning. Continue sharing. And if Badger gets a little bit too aggressive, remember, calm down. Calm down. It's all right to be pissed off. It's all right to get sad. But we have to understand that it's a short-term thing, and we need to try to stay in the balance as much as we can. We're not going to get rid of the evil, but we can make the evil go someplace else. The yin and the yang of the universe. So can we calm the evil down so it ain't so freaking bad? Yeah, that's possible. But we're never going to get rid of it because we got to have the good and the bad. It's got to be equal. So can we calm them down a little bit? Yes. Let's not poke our finger in their face or in their eyes. And let's understand that, we don't have to poke somebody in the eye to get our point across. Sometimes that just pisses everybody off and nobody remembers what you said. So, my friends, thank you. Break the Cycle, Truth to Me. It's meditation to clearing the mind. It not only helps clear the mind, it also helps strengthen your ability to become conscious and aware and control your thoughts. It ain't easy, though. That is true, Break the Cycle. It takes practice. But if you're going to be good at anything, it takes practice. So that's the key. We're all practicing, as I've always stated and will continue to until I learn how to walk through that wall. I am a shaman in training, as all of us are. And we wish to do better. We wish for a better tomorrow. And so let's work on it. All right. Thank you. I close with my prayer as always, and I sincerely mean it. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe, and that you will continue to learn how to reject those things in your life you do not need. I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom from the universe, and that you continue to learn how to reject the chaos and those things which bind us to the dark side. And as the law of three, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the wisdom, the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe, and that you continue to share that, and that you continue, law three, to reject the chaos that comes in. And it is up to us to decide. Allow armadillo, find your boundaries. Remember that rabbit is screaming to be eaten, and that hummingbird shows us the joy that is around us at all time. And even through the darkness and even through the stuff, there's still beauty and joy to be had. So, with that, my friends, thank you. Break the cycle, the brick hanging out. Thank you. Truth in Me, Maverick. Break the Cycle says, all right, David, I hope to see you on your next live stream too. And thank you for your prayers. Peace be with you and have a good night. Thank you, Break the Cycle. I believe in take care. You too. Thank you, Truth in Me, the brick. Thanks, everybody. Scratch. Yeah, Scratch. Barry, Chad, if you're still there. I think we had some other people go to bed earlier. Maverick, there you are. Scratch. I'm going back up. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but I love you. Thank you. And yes, we will talk to you soon, and we'll get together and do another collective meditation. But go back to the beginning of this if you haven't seen it. And hey, David Castle, thank you. Good night as well. Maverick, see you. Barry Child, thank you. So blessings. Have a good week. And, we are making a difference. Just sometimes our expectations, and we may not see it like other folks. But, here's the deal. The fact that them evil sons of bitches ain't took us over by now, we're making a difference. The fact that they got to go to all extremes, yeah, we're making a difference. We got them scared. So, cheers, everybody. Till next time, be safe. TTF from South Georgia. We love you all. Cosmic hugs, and we